Cage Minds, Mika Frankl, in studio with Randee Morales, now a pro boxer and mixed martial artist. We haven't talked to her since the amateur days. I mean, that's been quite a while ago. Wow, right?
I think my debut was in 2013, amateur, so it's been a good 6 years, almost 6 years.
And now to think you're a professional, what is that? How does that hit you, hearing professional fighter?
It's a kind of intense. I don't think that I really knew what was in store for me until after I decided that that's what I wanted to do. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be a professional fighter, but then I didn't think about how much time and effort goes into it. You really have to change your whole lifestyle for it, and it kind of was like a nice awakening, like, oh dang, this isn't just something that you can do. This is something that you have to really work for. So
I saw you compete in the cage, and then the next thing I see, you're a professional boxer. When did crossing over, putting on those bigger gloves, where'd that come into play?
Yeah, so I don't really have any boxing experience. I came back to competing in March after having my son in this year, I believe it was this year. And I competed in boxing and really enjoyed it and just kind of stuck with it and rolled with it. And I don't know, I probably will go back to boxing after this fight. I enjoy MMA, and I was doing MMA before boxing, but I don't know, I feel like it's like I'm keeping it OG doing boxing. It feels so much better for me for some reason. I really enjoy it. I really enjoy it.
And now coming up, as we got here, the poster showing January 11th, taking on Amanda Borg in the cage, Southwest MMA Series 30. I look at you two, there's a lot of comparisons I can draw. Around the same size, actually fighting each other. Both have had that boxing and MMA experience. Both are aggressive, like to move forward. What do you think of the matchup?
I'm interested. I'm intrigued to see where it goes. I'm excited. I feel like I like fighting people who are similar styles, because you guys, it'll be a big old brawl. It will be. We'll be banging hard, I feel like, the whole time. Even if it's up standing, if it's down on the ground, it's going to be live the whole time.
Now, I find it interesting. You guys have, seems like, should have crossed paths, but didn't. You haven't trained together, actually? I thought you two would have.
I was actually hoping to at some point, because I had seen she started training at Nick's gym, like right before I started boxing. And so like I had started back at Jackson Wink in like March, right before I did my first boxing match, my first amateur boxing match. And so after that, let me think. So after that, I started training at Jackson Wink, and then I stopped training there like around April, and that's when I noticed that she was already going over there to Urso's gym, and we just never even got to cross paths, I guess. It never worked out like that. But I've seen her Instagram, I follow her, and I like to support her, you know what I mean? Like, I like to support my fellow fighters. We gotta be on the same team, even though we're competing against each other, you know, like there's not a big group of us. So even though maybe we're competing against each other, I'm still gonna follow you and be your friend and support you, you know, like, I don't know.
And then what's going on with Randee? We know sometime in Colorado. I heard training at Fit HNB here now in town. Tell us about your training camp. What's going on, what you do?
Yeah, when I first started coming back, I didn't necessarily know about any boxing gyms out here, because boxing was so new to me. I really just would travel to Colorado to box with my coach out there, Steve Mestas. So I would travel out there for a couple weeks, be out there, come back for a few weeks, go back, come back. That lasted for like 6 months, you know, and now I'm here, and I wanted to try to make more of a full-time position here in Albuquerque instead of bouncing around. It's a little bit of a stressful to bounce around. So I went to Fit, and I actually really like it there. I started training with Jamie and a couple of the other people there. I know I had seen some teammates that I used to train with at Jackson's over there even, so I'm like, this is interesting. At least I feel a little bit comfortable. There's some familiar faces that I can see. But it's fun at Fit. It's good. I feel like it's a whole different environment. I like changing my environments. You learn different styles, different techniques, and so I like it there. It's a good gym. They were very welcoming to me, and I liked feeling the welcoming.
Now, I haven't seen you compete since those old amateur days.
I know.
Tell us about in-cage, in-ring, martial artist. What's new, what's different about Randee? How has her game evolved and changed?
More than anything, I feel like it's just been my mental game that's changed. Like, I used to feel panicked and nervous and maybe not know how to channel that properly, but I've been noticing that I can be calm and listen when I'm in the cage, which is nice, and in the ring. Sometimes it's hard to hear your coaches when there's all the yelling happening, but I think that that's the one thing that's really, really changed is my mental game. I've had to change it up in a lot of ways because I kind of just thought fighting was just fun and games, you know, and then I went pro and I realized, well, it's not really just fun and games. You're putting yourself in a position to get hurt, you know. You gotta really actually know what you're doing when you're in there, you know. Like, I enjoy fighting and I feel like I know what I'm doing, but there's always things that change in the game. You're always having to learn and evolve, so I don't know. It's nice to I like fighting because it's a good way to learn how to evolve as a person, I think.
What's the most memorable moment that you took away from the amateur run?
From the amateur run, I think that I took on a lot of opponents that were way more experienced than I was. I was fighting with 2 fights versus somebody who had like 5 or 6 fights, which is kind of a big deficit, you know, and that experience level, I feel like, made it different and harder for me to fight with somebody who has so much more experience. So now as a pro, I really try to analyze the people that my opponents, you know, the people I'm going to fight. I try to see what kind of experience level that they have and see if maybe we are even, you know, or somewhat even, because I don't want to be fighting against somebody who has 10 fights versus my 2 fights. You know, it's not exactly a fair experience, but you know, it's not a bad experience either. I did learn a lot from those people that had a lot of experience. They kind of transferred over in a way, I feel like, some of their experience to me out of the fights.
And you've had all this journey, and I know there's a lot of layers to you because we know there's family, there's professional career. Who is Randee Morales right now?
Oh man, I don't know. I guess I'm just doing me as a mother and as a fighter and as a worker. I work as a medical laboratory assistant, so I work in microbiology at Tricor. So that's kind of cool. I just try to balance everything together. I'm a student, soon-to-be student. January, it starts the new semester, so
what's the next goal? That intellectual goal. What are you going back to school for?
I'm gonna go back to school to pursue my degree in medical laboratory science. So right now I work in microbiology, but I don't currently hold a degree in microbiology. I only have a medical assisting degree and a phlebotomy certificate. So I feel like the field would benefit. I would benefit if I knew more about the field, it being there, working there, you know. So.
And then talk to me real quick about motivation. The motivation to keep training. Obviously now you got a career, so the motivation to keep showing up to the gym, getting punched in the face, and pursue this martial arts journey.
I feel like I just enjoy the personal growth. The motivation is to become a better version of myself. I mean, maybe that sounds a little bit selfish, but I feel like in order to provide for my family and my kids the way that I need to be the best version of myself that I could be. And maybe fighting isn't exactly like everybody's way to figure it out, but I've been involved in martial arts for a long time, and so it's kind of just a part of something that I've been doing in my life, and it's hard to not let it stay thriving, you know. So I don't know.
Come the 11th, how do you get that W?
I'm hoping, you know, I'm just gonna go with the flow. I want to be like water. Bruce Lee says to be like water. I want to be calm. I want to go with the flow and take it wherever it goes. So hopefully, you know, I can maintain a good control of the fight the whole time. That's always the goal, obviously, to maintain a controlling situation or, you know, scenario within the fight. But I'm just ready to see what happens, to be honest.
Buffalo Thunder, Southwest MMA Series. You've been on that stage before, in that venue. It's a different gym, though. She trains at a gym that you used to train at.
Yeah.
There's a little emotional side to it. You haven't fought here locally, so how do you just, all those encompassing factors, how do the emotions play a factor or not play a factor January 11th?
I'm just kind of trying to not think about all of that. It's not about that to me. It's not about the, you know, the gym or who used to train here or there, you know. I guess she used to train at Fit. So, I mean, really what it comes down to is I just want to do my best and perform well. And I'm not going to let anything sway me. I'm not going to let anything sway me. I'm focused. I'm determined and driven and motivated. And that's what it is. I'm set in my mind.
I look forward to seeing it. Buffalo Thunder, January 11th, Southwest MMA Series 30. Randee, thank you for joining me.
I know, good stuff. Thank you. Thanks for having me. Sorry, interviews are interesting sometimes.
Thank you.